Welcome to Wide Real News, your trusted source for in-depth analysis of global events. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss out on the stories that matter most. Let's dive into today's coverage of the unrest in Mozambique. Mozambique's post-election unrest sparks national and international concern. In the wake of Mozambique's disputed presidential election, the country is grappling with a wave of violence, protest, and repression. Following the official declaration of Daniel Chapo, the candidate for the ruling Frelimo party, as the winner with a sweeping 71% of the vote, nationwide demonstrations have erupted. The opposition leader, Venancio Mondlane, who secured 20% of the vote, has rejected the results, claiming widespread irregularities. These protests have plunged the country into chaos, leaving at least 18 dead, according to Human Rights Watch, though some estimates suggest the toll is much higher, exceeding 30. Dozens have been injured in violent clashes with police. The government, citing concerns over public safety, has now banned all protests, a move critics argue is an attempt to silence dissent. Voices from the ground. Across the streets of Maputo, citizens express frustration and fear as the political crisis deepens. Maria Antonio, a street vendor who sells bananas in the capital, told Wide Real News, "I cannot work anymore. Every day, the roads are blocked and the police are everywhere. I am scared for my children." Similarly, student activist Paulo Mutemba described the government's crackdown as oppressive. "We are not terrorists, we just want justice. But they shoot at us and call us criminals." Meanwhile, residents in Nampula, where violence has also flared, shared harrowing accounts of police brutality. Marta Longa, a mother of 3, recounted the tragic death of her nephew. "He was only 14 years old. He wasn't protesting, he was just in the wrong place. The police shot him. Government stance, acts of terrorism." Interior Minister Pascal Ronda has labeled the protest as acts of terrorism rather than legitimate demonstrations. In a recent address, he stated, "These are no longer protests. They are acts of subversion designed to destabilize our country. The organizers are using drugged youth to incite violence." Ronda has urged the public to cooperate with authorities and warned that crime will be fought. He justified the deployment of soldiers to assist police in maintaining order, especially during Thursday's mass protests in Maputo, which saw widespread use of tear gas and rubber bullets. Opposition leader in hiding. Venancio Mondlane, the main opposition leader, has gone into hiding, citing threats to his life. His lawyer and aide were killed under suspicious circumstances as they prepared to challenge the election results. In a video statement, Mondlane described living in fear, moving between safe houses in Johannesburg, South Africa. "I had to leave Mozambique because my home was surrounded by security forces. My wife and daughter are constantly on the run with me. This is not the democracy we fought for," Mondlane declared. Despite his absence, Mondlane has called for a final march in Maputo, rallying citizens to demand electoral justice. International reaction and media suppression. The international community is closely monitoring the unfolding crisis. South Africa's government, however, has distanced itself from the matter, claiming no knowledge of Mondlane's presence in Johannesburg. Human Rights Watch has condemned the Mozambican government's internet access, calling it a blatant attempt to suppress freedom of expression. Adding to the tensions, 2 South African journalists covering the unrest were detained in Maputo. News Central TV expressed grave concern. "The detention of our colleagues while performing their professional duties is deeply troubling. We are pursuing all diplomatic channels for their release." Impact on ordinary Mozambicans. The unrest has severely disrupted daily life. Schools have been closed, businesses shuttered, and transport routes blocked. A general strike called by Mondlane has compounded the economic paralysis, with many workers refusing to return despite government pleas. In Maputo, residents report shortages of basic goods as suppliers struggle to navigate the barricaded streets. "We can't live like this," said shopkeeper Joao Zembi. "Everything is more expensive now, and people are scared to leave their homes." Clashes in Nampula, a flashpoint of violence. The northern province of Nampula has seen some of the worst violence. Over the weekend, 8 people were killed in clashes between police and protesters. In one incident, demonstrators retaliated by setting fire to the home of a police officer accused of killing a protester. Local activist Fernando Mabanda accused the police of using excessive force. They don't aim to disperse, they aim to kill. This is not law enforcement, this is murder. A divided nation. Mozambique's crisis highlights deep political and social divisions. Frelimo, which has ruled since independence in 1975, is accused of consolidating power through intimidation and election rigging. Opposition groups, led by Podemos and Mondlane, argue that the electoral process was marred by fraud and violence. The government, however, denies these allegations, insisting that the elections were free and fair. Analysts warn that if the situation is not resolved soon, Mozambique risks sliding into further instability. What's next? As Mozambique braces for the final march in Maputo, the stakes are higher than ever. Will the government's heavy-handed approach quell the unrest, or will it fuel further resistance? Observers fear that without meaningful dialogue, the crisis could escalate into a protracted conflict. Thank you for tuning into Wide Real News. If you found this analysis insightful, make sure to hit the subscribe button and share this video with your friends. Stay informed with Wide Real News, where we bring you the stories shaping our world.